Thank you very much for taking the time out to have a chat with me and appearing in episode 3 of the podcast. It's called Word Up Rock and Roll Stories.
Very cool.
So basically we're just going to have a chat about your life story.
Cool.
So go right back to the beginning. Where did you call home? Was it North Carolina?
No, I was just born in North Carolina.
Born in North Carolina.
Down south, and then we moved around a bit. I lived in Pennsylvania, Maryland, near Washington, D.C., and then we went back to Pennsylvania. That's kind of where I went through that's when I got serious about playing guitar,
Right.
And went to high school there. But I was only there for 4 years, and then after that I got out to West Coast.
Yeah, moved over to LA.
Yeah.
When you were young, did you grow up in a musical household? Were your parents into music? Your siblings?
My sisters both were into music. They both had record players. I didn't have one yet. My younger sister had stuff like Queen and Kiss. My older sister had Jeff Beck and Stevie Wonder and some. It was interesting that going into their rooms and listening
through your sister's taste in music.
In the beginning, yeah, and then I was totally into Zeppelin and Aerosmith and Deep Purple and that stuff, Hendrix. But the first time I actually listened to a record with headphones, I think it was Jeff Beck, Blow by Blow.
Yeah.
On my sister's stereo.
And did that change your life?
Yeah,
in
man,
some kind
I
of way.
still remember the feeling. I mean, it gave me goosebumps hearing the guitar, what it sounded like, and you could something that people don't really talk about that much. But that when Jeff Beck plays guitar, you don't need a singer. It's enough.
It makes the guitar sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And what about buying records yourself? Was there a local record store that you could get to, or did you have to import them in?
The very first record I bought was so I could join a gang of guys. There was a gang, a little gang of guys in Rockville, Maryland. I lived, and they had a tree house and they'd hang out and whatever kids do,
Yeah. Just think the film Stand By Me. It's
exactly
the same,
yeah. And so I bought the first record was they said if you buy Iron Man by Black Sabbath, then you can join the gang.
Yeah.
So I donated that to join the gang. Iron Man with an Electric Funeral was on the B side.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my mom, we got to go to the record store. I got to get this record. It's very important. She drove me. And then later, when after my sisters had record players and stuff, I got one. And I think the first record I got was Led Zeppelin 2. And that was a life changer as well.
Mm. So
and then moved on to...
Pretty cool taste in music right from the start then.
Well, that's what was happening. I mean, stuff like... Zeppelin 2 was already out. I think by that time, they might have already put out Zeppelin 4 by that time, because I might have heard Stairway to Heaven. I can't remember. But Zeppelin 2 was the one that I got first. It had a whole lot of love on it. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
And loved that. And then little by little, through friends, I discovered other bands. I didn't really have any way to discover who. I didn't know if there was. I don't remember if there was a hard rock station or anything, but there was a pop radio station, and they'd play stuff like Stevie Wonder or Hall & Oates, stuff like that. They played Peter Frampton on the radio, Hendrix. They played like Hey Joe or Purple Haze.
Yeah.
I think they played Smoke on the Water, like the commercial songs of all those bands. Yeah. And then later, through friends, I got into Aerosmith and Van Halen and blah 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 blah. UFO and Deep Purple and Rainbow, Sabbath and Allman Brothers. Actually, my older sister had a friend that her boyfriend was into Allman Brothers, so that was kind of a little early on.
Yeah.
And Ramblin' Man from Allman Brothers was on the radio. I remember that.
So was other southern rock groups an influence on you? Because you have got quite a bluesy tone to
I did love
your guitar playing.
I did love southern rock. I loved Skynyrd and Allman Brothers, and then there was other bands like Charlie Daniels Band and Molly Hatchet, 38 Special. But the kings of it for me were probably Allman Brothers and Skynyrd.
Yeah, cool. What were you like at school? How many schools did you go to? You say you moved around quite a bit. How many
I went
did you
to a
go
lot. I went to I don't remember previous to this, but I remember being in elementary school, and it was called Carter Springs. It was in Maryland, Rockville, Maryland, I think. And then later, after that, I went to an all-boys private school called Bullis. Now I think it's co-ed, but at the time it was Bullis School for Boys, and it was awesome, man. It was like,
Right.
it was the best food you'd ever get at school. I mean, like handmade everything and home cooked everything, and the sporting programs was really good. I was into a lot of sports and stuff.
Like what kind of sports? were you into?
Baseball. I was actually at Bullis. I was running cross country,
Yeah.
and for some reason I liked it. I don't know. I guess it's something that is kind of random, but cross country running.
Mm-hmm.
But I played football and baseball and basketball.
An all-rounder.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
I played soccer a little bit, but soccer wasn't so big.
No, not back then. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's grown in popularity in the States a lot more in
Oh,
recent
absolutely.
years.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah,
Huge now.
excellent. What about academically? Were you a clever kid or
I mean,
average?
you guys know I'm not. I did okay. I think I would be considered an underachiever at school. I was bored. I was a little bored by it, and I really, once I got into music, I really was so excited about music that everything else took a backseat.
Yeah.
So I didn't do as well as I wished I should have or could have. I'm sure I could have had I applied myself, I could have done a lot better.
Although you haven't done too bad out of it.
No, I've been
So,
very lucky. That's why.
yeah.
I mean, luck is the key to everything in music business.
Yeah, true. Can you remember when you picked up your first guitar?
Yeah, it was a summer, and I think it was '74, and my sister had a classical guitar, and the reason I picked it up was my little sister had a classical guitar and a book with chords and
Yeah.
how to play. And the reason I picked it up was because all my friends had gone away for summer vacation. There was nothing going on. I didn't really want to go out of the house that much because I didn't have anybody to go with.
Mm.
So I got that guitar and that book and started playing, the D chord and it should A chord like this, an E chord. And it took a while, but it was a classical guitar with nylon strings, and it broke my finger.
Yeah.
It broke my fingers in. I got even on nylon strings, it was like there was pain involved in the beginning, and that's where it started. And then I eventually got an electric guitar. My mom got me a department store guitar. It was a very cheap guitar called Sears,
Oh, yeah.
and it was a little amp about this big, and I made a band with some guys in the neighborhood, and we started playing. We were called Purple Haze was the name of the band, and we did we'd just jam for hours on stuff like Smoke on the Water, or there was an Allman Brothers song, Memory of Elizabeth Reed. We'd play that for forever, just like two chords.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun, and eventually, little by little learning, I started to get better.
Can you remember your first ever gig? Was it with that band?
No, it was later. It was when I got to Philadelphia area. There was a train it's called the Main Line. The train that runs through Philadelphia.
Right.
There's a train called the Main Line, and I used to take that train down to downtown Philadelphia. And I met some people from the paper or on the wall or something. You know how people used to write their names on the wall and put a little tab?
Yeah.
I found some people and we made a band. It was called Medusa. It was with a girl singer. Her name was Becky. And then our first gig was in a church. I remember that. And I invited some friends to come. And,
Were they just rock covers?
Yeah, it was stuff like, everything from Hendrix to Fleetwood Mac, Eddie Money. I remember we played 2 Tickets to Paradise by Eddie Money. We played Purple Haze. We played Don't Stop by Fleetwood Mac. the newer version of Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any more than that. But that was the first
You
gig.
do well to remember that, though.
Yeah.
All the gigs that you played in your life.
I was the
still
rhythm.
remember.
I was the rhythm guitar player. There was I forget his name, but he played lead guitar and he was really good. And so I was just plunking around on rhythm guitar. But by that time, I remember I had gotten a proper guitar.
So it was just a copy that you had before that?
Yeah, the first guitar was a Sears copy of a Les Paul. It was like it was a Sunburst, kind of like a Jimmy Page thing.
Yeah.
And my sister's boyfriend had a Les Paul, a real one, and he said, "I'm going to sell it. Do you want it?" And it was $300. And I said, "What color is it?" And he said, "It's a gold top." Now I thought a gold top was what I had, was the Jimmy
The
Page. I
Sunburst
thought
was
that.
a gold top.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I saved. I earned about $100, $150, and then my parents gave me the rest. And I can't remember if I ever paid it back or not, but I showed up and got the guitar, and I remember opening the case and looking at the headstock, and it says Gibson. Okay, cool. And I looked down and it's gold, and I thought, what color is this? He goes, it's a gold top. It's just like what Dickie Betts plays. I'm like, oh, I thought that a gold top was the other thing. And I thought it was kind of an ugly color,
Right.
compared to what Page played. But I was like, I want it. It's a Gibson.
Yeah.
And so I got it, and it's turned out to be my favorite color ever. I've gone through a lot of different guitars in my life, and always revert back to that guitar as being like the one.
Do you still own that guitar?
No, I butchered that guitar. Yeah, I
On stage?
I did it at home. It was a gold top deluxe, 73, and I took out the smaller pickups and I took a drill and made room for bigger pickups and
Right.
bolted bigger ones in, and then I got it refretted and changed the keys and changed some parts and stuff, so it was not anywhere near original.
Right.
And then when Van Halen came out, I really wanted to get a tremolo, so I got a Strat.
So all this was before like 78 when Van Halen came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was 3 or 4 or 5 years, whatever, before. But it was probably 5 or 6 years, because I didn't know about Van Halen in the beginning.
Right.
I went to see them in 1979, and I didn't even know who we were seeing. I was like, who's coming today? And then my buddy goes, Van Halen. I'm like, weird name, strange name for a band. I'm thinking of bands like Rush and Led Zeppelin. Those are the names I'm used to.
Yeah.
Van Halen, I couldn't imagine what I was about to see.
And so you went to a Van Halen gig without even knowing who they were?
Yeah.
Or any of the songs?
Yeah, no, I didn't know
Totally
anything.
blown away by that.
I didn't know anything, and we loved going to concerts, and they were so cheap. It was like $6 for a ticket, general admission ticket.
Yeah.
And just got to the front, and the curtain went up, and I saw for the first time Marshall stacked up 3 high, and the speakers were exposed. So I'd never really seen that so much either. But it was, it was 18 cabinets times 4. So I'm a little jet lagged. Sorry, guys.
That's fine.
But anyway, it
Yeah,
was like 48. I don't know. No, it was more than that. Anyway, a lot of speakers, and Eddie made a sound, and it was just like, woo, couldn't believe it. So I was blown away right from the get-go. He jumped out, started playing, and it was like, what the hell is this?
Was that still in the first album, or had Van Halen 2 been released?
That was Van Halen 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were playing Stadium.
Yeah.
So I never heard anything off Van Halen 1. When I got into Van Halen 2, I discovered Van Halen 1, and that was even,
even more mind-blowing.
Yeah. So.
Was that, what was the first gig that you ever attended?
First gig was the Beach Boys.
Cool. That is a really cool first gig.
I don't know, I was probably a little ashamed to say in the beginning when I was a kid, because I was into rock, and Beach Boys were they were more pop and a surf band and whatever. But now I'm really happy that was the first one. I love the Beach Boys.
I'd be proud of that fact. Yeah. How old were you then?
I can't remember. I guess I was about 10 or 10,
Right.
something like that.
So you can't remember much about that then, I should
I just remember seeing that we were really far from the stage and the lights were really cool, and I remember smelling a sweet kind of smoke in the air.
Wonder what that could have been.
Yeah.